And India very rich. So the army very strong.
Yep. Had India, not been colonized by the British or like ruled under the British, right? By now, I think the country would be even much more like it's all right now. It is the world's fifth largest economy currently, right? And but I think without the British rule, India might have been the richest country, like
Oh,
probably, because imagine that out of like four, like let's say 1/4 of the total GDP of the world was in India. Imagine that.
yes.
So let's say this is just an example. Let's say there are $100, okay, $100, and this equals to the world. So this is like an example. So let's say if the world, let's say the entire world is $100, right? Out of that, $24 belong to India.
Yes.
So that's a lot of like let's say power to have.
Oh,
So just an example. Uh,
yes.
but because of the looting and like the stealing of assets from India, India became very
Yes.
poor, and the UK became very rich. The UK,
Yes.
British, like they invaded or they colonized many other countries. So the Indian subcontinent, and probably even also like let's say the West
Yes.
Indies and some other like regions of the world.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you check the history of Britain and their like colonial rule, like their colonization, you will kind of see which places they kind of ruled across the world. Uh, I can't hear the audio. Hello. Yeah,
oh,
it's back now.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. So say something.
Oh,
Yeah, you want to say?
oh. I remember the fight. The sun never sets
Yes.
in the greatest.
Yep. So the sun never sets on the British Empire, right? Yep.
Yes. Yes.
There's the phrase. Yeah. Because at one point they had like a rule, or they had the power almost like throughout the world.
Yes.
Uh, the empire where the sun never sets. I think that's the phrase, or like the let me just check it out. I'll just show you. The empire where the sun is that this one? Yep. Yep. This one. Got it.
Yes.
The empire on which the sun never sets.
Yes.
So this was like prior to the World War, the First World War and the Second World War. So when
Yes.
Britain took part in the First and the Second World War, they became much weaker, and they lost control
Yes.
over their colonies. So places where they
Yeah.
ruled, they lost control over that. But I think before the First World War, they had yep. So they control around 25% of the world's total landmass
Yes.
at one point. So yeah, like Britain was revered as the empire on which the sun never sets, because
Yes.
that's how vast their rule was at one point.
Yes.
Yeah, but now if you look at the British, like the UK, yeah, they look very like how would I put it, insignificant. So
Yes.
they've lost their influence and power compared to the heydays, like when they're very strong
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Let me just check. Let me know this. Yep. Okay. So can you see this one? Why did British
Oh, yes.
came to India, like or come to India for spices? Because spices
Yes.
were considered to be a status symbol in Britain. All right.
Oh, status
Yep.
symbol.
Status symbol. So back
Yeah.
in those days in Britain, if you had spices, you were from the high
Yes.
class. Okay,
yes,
and that's why the British they came to India to buy spices or trade spices,
yes,
because in Britain back in those days, if you had spices, you were considered to be like
yes,
let's say from a high class family.
yes,
So see here, they were restricted to the upper class,
yes,
and that's why this the spices were like in high demand in the British
yes,
Empire or like in Britain.
yes,
In Britain, like they were of a very high you could say a demand, like back in the day.
yes,
Right. So yeah, and from wanting to buy spices, they eventually kind of colonized and ruled India
yes.
eventually. So they came with one motive, and they ended up having a different motive altogether.
Oh, yes,
So much more sinister, evil, or wicked, whatever you might say.
yes,
So they came with a noble, like maybe a noble intention. Okay,
yes,
so first when they came to India, it was for like for like maybe like for a noble cause. So they wanted to buy spices,
yes,
but after staying for a few years, they developed or they thought about like a wicked plan to colonize that thing. So after a while, they colonized
yeah,
the entire region.
yes,
So that's the history if you learn. And yep,
yes,
across history, there have been a lot of incidents or occurrences or like let's say events which have taken place.
yes,
And so yeah, like there's a very dark history, a dark past, but looks like now India is again on
yes,
the right track. So India,
yes,
um, and the thing about India is that in all its history, India, right? India
yes,
as a nation has never ever invaded any other country
yes.
as a history. So this is the thing about India, a fact, all right? So it's untrue. Okay, let's see. Yep. So, uh, any other sovereign country? Sovereign. Is this true? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Okay. Did it invade countries? Let's say. Ah, okay. So India did invade one country, I think.
Oh, yes,
Ah, technically, okay. So it's a bit more nuanced. So the thing is that India, like, when it wasn't like fully a country, they did like invade each other kingdoms or like territories, but within this like the current India that we have right now, they did not invade any other countries within that. Like that's how it is. So if you see here, India did invade, but these are all states inside India.
yes,
So this is the whole point. The point that
yes,
is being made, India never invaded a non-Indian country and people. Uh, so did let me just search. India invade any any country? Okay, so within kingdoms in the country, there were some fights and let's say some conquest and the conquering of some territories. But
yes,
India, like after independence, like as a nation, They have never ever invaded any others like sovereign country. They've never done that.
Yes.
And so like overall you could say as a country, India has always been peaceful. They've never been like
Yeah.
they've never like had fights with any other countries like that.
Yes.
And right now the current government or the prime minister, I don't know if you know about him, uh, Narendra Modi. Have you heard about the prime minister of India?
Yes.
I don't know if you know about him or not. So he's quite famous actually. This guy. The He's the prime minister of India.
Yes.
Do you know about this guy? Do you know about him?
Yes.
Have you heard about him?
I I Harry Potter.
No, no. He's the he's not like he's the current prime minister of India, Narendra Modi.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I know him.
Have you heard about him? So you know about him, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've heard about him.
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he's quite famous actually, and under his leadership and rule,
Yes.
India has progressed steadily, and currently they are the world's fifth largest economy in the entire world.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
I
Yes.
think first is the USA. Second, I think is
Yeah.
China. Third, I think is what's the third?
Maybe Russia.
Russia. I think Germany or top five economies in the world. Let's see. Um, okay, okay. So it's like the US, then China, then Germany, then there's Japan and India.
Oh yes.
So yeah. So these five countries: the
Yes.
United States, China, Germany, Japan, and India. Yep. And pretty soon, pretty soon, India will overtake probably Japan and Germany. Like
Yes.
not very long. So I think in the
Yes.
next like I don't know 5 to 10 years,
Yes.
it'll be the US, China, and India as the three
Yes.
like biggest economies in the world, probably. So yeah, and so yeah, since independence in 1947, I would say
Yes.
India has come a
Mm,
long way. And
yes.
as for Vietnam, which year did you achieve independence?
Mm, in independence.
Yeah, like from like let's say rule from other countries.
Yes. Who from other country?
Like okay, let me just check. So when did the country become independent? Any idea?
Oh yes. Yes. Uh, 1940. 1975.
Okay, okay. So you actually got in 1945. So I think at the end
Yes.
of the Second World War.
Yes.
All right. So
Uh,
this one
1945.
45.
We win in uh, in the north, and 1975 we win
In the south.
in the south. Yes.
Okay, okay. So I think in the 1970s, right? So in 1975, you fought against the
Yes.
French and the US.
Oh yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
French
and
and
US. So
yes.
like first the French started, and then the US joined, like
Yes.
in the south against the north, and but
Yes.
they lost eventually. The US they
Yes.
lost the war,
Yes.
and after 1975, the entire country was united into like one single country, into a single
Yes.
country. Your country, Vietnam.
Yes.
So officially, I think your country celebrates September 2, 1945 as your
Yes.
the independence year.
Yes.
This one. So this must have been at the end of the Second World War. And that's
Yes.
when you got independence. From so yeah, back then, France used to like rule a country, the French.
Yes.
So India got independence from the British or from the UK,
Yes.
in 1947, and from the historical records, I can see that your country, like or the Ho Chi Minh City, it got
yes,
independence from France in 1945. So that
yes,
means before the Second World War, France used to rule your country, or like
yes,
France colonized your country before that.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So these Europeans, like they've been like kind of colonizing like all over the world.
Yes,
For example, France also like colonies in Africa. So
yes,
France, Belgium, maybe also I think even the Netherlands,
yes,
and I think also some other countries. So
yes,
if you look at history, maybe only I think Germany and some other countries did not colonize other countries, probably. Even right now, France, they still have some, some like colonial influence in Africa,
oh
even at
yes,
present. Because in Africa, if you go there, they still use the French language, and they still do trade with France, those African
yes,
countries. But from what I'm seeing in geopolitics, slowly the African countries they're moving away from the Europeans or from France or Belgium or other countries, and
yes,
they're slowly moving towards Russia or some other like South Asian
yes,
countries. Slowly, they're
yes.
diversifying their like their connection or influence.
Yes.
So if you like, I don't know, like probably if you like follow the news right now, have you heard about the BRICS? This BRICS.
Oh yes, I
Right.
know.
Yeah, you
Which
understand, right?
yeah,
Right. So right now, upcoming, I think in the next few years, there will be
yes,
the most powerful economic alliance. I think.
yes,
So if
exactly. Yes,
if you follow like politics or like like let's say economy, right? I think
yes,
you might have heard about the G7, right?
yeah,
The G7. So at one point in time, they were the seven most you could say powerful economies of the world, right?
yes,
At some point, but now the influence and the power has waned. They have become
yeah,
much weaker, and I think the future is BRICS plus. So like that's the future, I think.
yes,
So besides Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, even other countries
yes,
have joined. Like right now, this Malaysia, even they're joining
yes,
BRICS, and also I
yes,
think UAE, and very soon even the Vietnam might also join BRICS probably.
yes,
They might join us because uh, this is the future. In the future,
yes,
BRICS
yes,
Plus will become the most powerful economic alliance, like or trade alliance. Okay, trade.
yes.
So this one in the future. So yep, like apart from sports, movies, I also keep up to date with the current affairs of the world, like the
Yes.
current affairs of the world. Or if you talk about let's say geopolitics, this one, because
Oh yes.
I find them to be very, very interesting, the current affairs of geopolitics. So, do you watch news every day?
Yes. I usually watch the new birthday. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you should because it is good to be informed and to be updated about, like the current events
Yes.
or the like what's going
Exactly.
on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like we should be
Oh,
informed.
when I young, I, I, I don't know why the elder usually
Watch.
read the news
Okay, okay.
every day. Yeah, I feel that not
So boring,
interesting.
right? Yeah, like, hey,
Yes,
these
so
people.
boring. Yeah.
Why are they watching the
Yes.
news? It's so boring, like like
Yes.
there's nothing interesting or nothing to like know about them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
same point. I get it, but once you become older, then you realize why news is important
Yes.
or why it's needed. Yep,
Yes.
I can understand the sentiment because even when I was a child,
Yes.
I was like my father's watch news.
Yes.
I'm like father, this is so boring. What are you watching? This is kind of very very boring.
Yes.
Uninteresting.
Yes.
But now that I'm an adult, I understand
Yes.
why news is important.
Yes.
So yep, I get it. Yep. So um, so like as countries, especially from the global south, right?
yes,
So if you talk about Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, all these countries,
yes,
also like the Indian subcontinent, we have always been ruled or colonized by the Europeans at some point. So
yes,
on this matter, like we have like like almost like the same history, or like you could say similar history in this
yes,
regard.
yes,
So yeah. And right now, I think people in our society, they're very hardworking.
yes,
They kind of are very, very, you could say, they put a lot of efforts
yes,
to kind of help the country develop, or you could say progress. So I think in the next 50 years, economies like your country, Vietnam, and other
yes,
developing nations will become probably
yes,
developed, maybe
yes,
with like if under the good leadership and management, the country will
yes,
eventually become like a developed nation.
yes,
So I wish your country all the best, because I think your the country's government is quite
yes,
let's say they're very, very efficient. I think your country's government. So
yes,
I see a very bright future for your country.
yes,
As for my country, ah, we have too much corruption. So that's the problem.
yes,
So
yes,
yes, our people, like the general public, they're very
yes,
hardworking.
yes,
Unfortunately, our politicians, they're corrupted, and
yes,
so I don't see our country making much progress
yes,
because of our leadership. We don't
yes.
have that. So yeah. Okay, and any idea what food your mom is preparing for dinner?
Oh, I think you need you try a spicy noodle.
No, no. I mean, so like your mother, right? Any idea what is she cooking for dinner?
What is he cooking for dinner?
Yep, like your mother.
Oh, I I I have a dinner.
Oh, you've already had dinner.
Yes.
So early. Wow. Wow. Okay. So I mean, behind the like your like the kitchen, or like on the
Yeah.
background, I can hear
Yes.
like the utensils, the sound of it. So I thought your mom is kind of like preparing for dinner or something. Okay, so
Oh,
you've already had the dinner.
yes.
Ah, so early. What is it,
Yes.
like 7:30 or something in Vietnam time?
Yes. I my family usually have a dinner around 7 p.m. Vietnam time.
Wow, that's okay. So like sometimes midnight, do you feel hungry?
Oh, I don't feel hungry because I win meal per night.
Ah, ah, uh, from next month onwards, if I earn extra money, I think
Yes,
I will also like make a list of or I'll kind of like
yes,
in my to do list. I will make sure that I
yes,
drink milk every night from next month.
yes,
If my income increases,
yes,
so that's the thing. Yeah, milk is very, very kind of, how would I say, effective, because
yes,
it's
exactly.
got a lot of you could say value to it.
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot of nutrition and other benefits when you have
Yes,
milk. Yeah. So tonight, what time do you go to sleep? Like what time do you plan to go to sleep tonight?
yes. I my line 10 30
Yeah.
or 11. Yes.
Because right now I think it's 9:18 in Vietnam, probably.
Uh, yes,
9:18, yeah,
exactly. Yes,
9:18, because in Bangladesh it's 8:18. So about like
yes,
after an hour or so you go to sleep after this session.
yes, exactly. Yes,
So I suppose after this class you will maybe like look up the news or something, browse the internet
yes,
after this session,
yes,
and just rest for a
yes,
while. Okay.
exactly. Yes,
All right. So Do you have any questions for me, or do you want to say anything? If you wanna speak up, you can say. If you have anything else that you want to add.
Oh yes, I understand. And oh, because my my finance director he Korean and he use English because I got this English every day.
Okay, okay. So, the finance director, he's a Korean,
Yes,
and
yes, exactly.
he has to use English because you talk to him in English,
Yes.
and is he quite good in English?
Uh. Oh yes.
He's quite good.
His English quite good. Yes, I think so.
Okay, it's quite good. So like maybe it's at like what a C1 level. Like what's his level? Any idea about it in English?
Yes.
Is it at a C1 level?
Oh yes, I think so. C1 level.
Okay, so like you could say he's at the same level as I am
Yes.
in English. All right.
Uh,
So, well, that's nice because
yes.
since he's your like finance director, you have
Yes.
someone to talk to, and
Yes.
which will also help you to improve your spoken English, right?
Yes.
So like you have someone to talk and practice with.
Yes.
So I think that's a good thing.
Yes. Yes.
Because you are Vietnamese, he is Korean. And
Yes.
so, in terms of the common language, English would be the
Yes.
like the language you have to communicate.
Yes.
Uh, does he know like Vietnamese?
Vietnamese, I think he don't know Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. Well,
Yes.
take that as a blessing in disguise, because
Yes.
since he does not know Vietnamese, he has to
Yes.
communicate to you in English, right?
Yes.
And it's a good thing,
Exactly. Yes.
and it's a good thing for you, because then
Yes.
you get to talk to him 6 days a week and practice with him
Yes.
as well, right?
Yes.
So you have classes with me, and you can practice
Yes.
that with him as well.
Yes.
So I'd say this is a win-win situation.
Yes.
That's what I say. So
Exactly. Yes.
you have class with me in English, and you get to practice or use this, the skill or the language when talking to your
Yes.
finance director in English.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. So so, I think joining this company was a really really good thing for
Yes.
you, because
Yes.
higher position,
Yes.
and also like better salary compared to the previous
Yes.
company,
Yes.
less work, or like less pressure,
Yes.
and you also get to practice English.
Yes. Exactly.
So what's not to like about the company, right? So yeah.
Yes.
Well, hearing that, I'm really glad, because it means that
Yes.
uh, with me you have classes for, let's say, 2 hours per week, right? So one day,
Yes.
like 1 hour per day, and 2 hours
Yes.
per week max.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
else, with your finance director, you will kind of interact and communicate with him, like 6 days per
Yes.
week. So
Yes.
your fluency will improve even further,
Yes.
since you will be in regular touch with him. Yeah.
Yes.
That's really good. I'm really
Yes.
happy to know that.
Yes.
So, yep. And is there anything else that you'd like to say or add?
Yes. I don't have any question.
So you can say, if you have any other thing in your mind, anything else that you want to say or add.
Oh yes. Currently I don't thinking. I don't think any. Yes.
Okay. So right now your mind is like a blank sheet. Like there's nothing, like no topics or thoughts in your head.
Yes. Exactly.
All right. If that's the case,
Yes.
like we should
Uh,
conclude today's session,
yes.
and
Yes.
I shall see you again. Next Tuesday probably, right? Next week on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Next 2 days.
Yep, next Tuesday. And for
Yeah.
now, enjoy your work. I think you're loving it a
Yes.
lot. So and also like
Yes.
I wish you success, right, in your
Yes.
job and your future life.
Yes.
All right then.
Yes. Thank you, teacher.
Yep. Welcome, Khan.
Yes.
So for today, let's conclude here. All right.
Yes.
And will you kind of make the project now? Like create a project today.
Uh,
The project create and
Roger. Yeah, exactly. I will create the project and you will
make the bid.
pay. Yes, make a bit
Yeah.
$9.
Yes.
$9. Okay. So like
Yes.
I'll like you create the project, invite me, and I'll make the bid.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. See you on Tuesday.
Yep. See you on Tuesday. And for
Yes.
now, take care.
Yes.